Broadcasting from All Talk Studios in Las Vegas, Nevada, this is the All Talk Radio Network. Visit us online at www.alltalkradio.net. Views and opinions expressed on the following program are those of the host and guests, and not necessarily those of the staff or management of alltalkradio.net.
Welcome to Dante's Boxing Nation Show here on alltalkradio.net. Now here's your host, Dante.
What's going on, guys? alltalkradio.net, boxingtalk.com, and welcome to the Dante's Boxing Nation Show. I am your host, Dante, and joining me today are my special guests. My man in the studio with me is Mr. Jeff Mayweather, one of the best trainers in the world right now. We also have on the phone, 78 Sports TV has one of the best boxing YouTube channels on YouTube, and we also have the new welterweight champion, Mr. Chris Algieri, on the phone with us right now. Welcome to the show, everyone. So let's go ahead and get it started, guys. First things first, let me go ahead and talk to my man, Chris Algieri, and the new junior welterweight champion of the world. How does that sound, champ?
Sounds good to me, man. I don't think I'll ever get tired of hearing it.
Congratulations, man. Congratulations. Very impressive performance. I just want to say, Chris, now with 2 knockdowns, 1 eye closed, no amateur experience, how is it possible, Chris?
And when the will and the desire is there, you know, it can't be stopped. And I knew I was winning that fight. There was no way that I was walking out of there not the champion.
I hear you. I hear you. Now, Chris, were you surprised? I know you had to watch the fight again on HBO. Were you surprised when you heard Jim Lampley and Steve Weisfeld, their scorecards on the fight? Because it seemed to me like Andre Ward, he had it right, but everyone else, they damn near had Ruslan winning a shutout.
I'm not that surprised. I mean, you know, there's a lot of politics involved in the sport, and Ruslan was the age guy, and you know, they were really building him up to be this mythological power puncher. So I really wasn't that surprised, you know, by that other people had him, you know, ahead, and especially, you know, the guys there. But
I hear you, man. I hear you. Now, Chris, Bob Arum, before the fight, believe it or not, I don't know if you're aware of this, but he actually predicted that you would win this fight, and he was already talking about setting up Pacquiao versus Algieri in Macau, China, in November. Were you aware of that?
Yes, I was aware.
Yeah. So what do you think? What do you think about? Well, before I ask you, what do you think about that? Freddie Roach, he had a little bit of a rebuttal because he said that now it's like he's using Manny Pacquiao as a pawn, because he's saying in order for you to fight Pacquiao, you're going to have to give Ruslan Provodnikov a rematch. What are your assessment on that?
Well, first of all, I definitely want that Pacquiao fight. I can be ready for November. And in terms of the rematch, you know, that's fine with me. I don't know how much they really looked at a rematch, but you know, they talked about having it on neutral ground. They chose the venue. They chose the venue, and they had the smallest ring they could possibly have. So if we were to fight for a rematch, we would have a proper size championship ring. And round number 1 would never happen, and that's fine. That we can do fight number 2. It would be, I think that it would be a much easier fight. Okay,
nice. Now, was it anything that surprised you about Ruslan Provodnikov?
No, he was pretty much, you know, what we expected. He was who he is. You know, he moved his head a little better than I'd seen in the past. He definitely made some adjustments. His left hook was pretty on point. He didn't throw the right hand as I expected. But yeah, he was pretty steady and stuck to the script of what Ruslan does. His up guy comes forward and throws, and doesn't angle too much. So it was pretty much as I expected.
Okay. Now 78. Can you hear Chris speaking right now?
What's that?
I'm sorry. I'm asking, and we got someone else on the line. 78, you there? 78. Okay, we'll get back to 78. Well, anyway, Chris, so what about the knockdowns? How many times did he hurt you in the fight?
Just that first punch, really. And that knockdown, I made mistakes. You know, I engaged too early. I was a little too aggressive in the first round. I knew going in that he was a dangerous guy for the first two, very dangerous guy for the first 2 rounds. And I miscalculated. I threw a combination and traded hooks with him off the ropes, and it wasn't time to do that yet. So, I got caught and I paid for it. I had my legs in my head and my wits about me right away, but, the damage to my face was done, and I needed to figure that out and understand what was going on with my cheek, as it was swelling. That's why I took that knee that second time, just to kind of, figure out what was going on with my face before I continued to fight.
Yeah, I hear you. Now, we also have Jeff Mayweather in the studio with us, Chris. Jeff, what did you think about that fight?
Well, I thought that was a good, entertaining fight.
It was okay.
It was a give and take on both sides, and it was a good fight to watch.
I hear you. I hear you. So, are you gonna continue training out here in Las Vegas, Chris, or are you going back to New York or what?
I'm back in New York now. I'm gonna spend some time here, rest up, heal up, and get ready and start negotiating for the next thing and see where we're gonna end up. But training camp will definitely be back out in Las Vegas once we get something set up.
Okay. How long are you planning on resting?
It depends how long all the talks take. Negotiating now takes longer these days. But I got to make sure that my face and my eye are all good. The swelling has gone down quite a bit, and just coming back together. But I want to make sure everything is 100% before we get back in there. And really, just a lot of negotiating to do now. We gotta look for the biggest fights that are out there and secure some major matchups on premier networks.
I hear you. So are you feeling a little bit like the Cinderella Man? I mean, you just come out of nowhere, all of a sudden now people talking about you fighting Manny Pacquiao, one of the biggest names in the sport. Is that how you feel right now, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of, the way it's going. Myself and my team, we feel we should have been here, already.
Yeah.
So, I'm just taking in everything as we go and experiencing every moment, enjoying the ride and the journey, and getting ready for the next step in this crazy journey that's boxing.
Okay, I hear you, man. And before I let you go, I gotta ask this question: how do you see a Manny Pacquiao fight playing out? Because I'm gonna tell you right now, people are already sending me messages. I made a video talking about you being a possible opponent, and people were saying, "Oh, he ain't gonna be able to deal with Manny Pacquiao's speed," and so on and so forth. What do you think about that? How would that fight play out, and what's the most difficult thing about Manny Pacquiao?
People said the same thing about me and Provodnikov. I wasn't going to be able to deal with the power and the pressure and this and that. At the end of the day, I have physical advantages over these guys. Manny's fast, but I'm fast too. I'm a rhythm fighter. Manny has an offset rhythm, and he's got that herky-jerkiness, but everybody can be figured out. And a jab is a great equalizer. Jab can control an entire fight. So I think that would be a big part of the game plan going into that fight.
Absolutely. And you're like, what, 5'10", 5'9"? How tall are you, Chris?
Yeah, I'm just a little over 5'10".
Oh, yeah, that's a style that Manny Pacquiao, he hasn't seen. So, like you said, someone who will be that tall and also has a good jab. So I would love to see that fight, man. So, hey, man, I want to say thanks for your time. I know you're busy out there partying and everything. Hopefully not too much. But once again, man, congratulations. You have any last thoughts before I let you go, champ?
No, just thanks for having me on, man. I really appreciate it. It was great being on the show. Prior to the fight, I'm glad you guys had me back. And when I'm back in Vegas, I'll definitely hit you guys up.
Absolutely, man. We're going to have you back on the studio when you get your next fight. All right, take care, champ.
Sounds good, man. Thank you.
All right, man. Okay, yeah, that's the new WBO Junior Welterweight champ. You there, 78?
Yeah, I'm here. I had to call in from Skype because I don't know what happened on the phone, but you got
78. Okay, we'll get 78 back on. All right, Jeff, let's get into it, man. Let's get into it, man. Now, I want to ask you, Jeff, we done had a lot of good fights lately. Of course, we had the big upset with Cotto versus Sergio Martinez. I want to ask you about, first of all, before we even talk about that fight, I want to ask you what you think about what Freddie Roach said. Freddie Roach, he said that now, since he's training Cotto, that Miguel Cotto will knock out Floyd Mayweather. And not only that, but Floyd Mayweather will most likely duck Miguel Cotto because he's seen what he did to Sergio Martinez. What do you think about those?
I think it's a joke. And
Coach joke?
And Freddie Roach knows it's a joke too, because the reality is this: that's the same Cotto. That's the exact same Cotto. You haven't done anything to improve him. You fought a guy with one leg. That's what happened, and that was the benefit that that actually won him the title, because the man was done. He's finished. Yeah. And that's what won the fight. It had nothing to do with Cotto.
Yeah. But do you think? Well, I'm 78. You there? 78?
Yo, I'm here.
Okay. Can you hear me? You hear me good, right? 78?
Yeah, I hear you perfect.
Okay. So what did you think about them comments? And holla at your boy Jeff. The comments that Freddie Roach made about Floyd Mayweather possibly knocking out Miguel Cotto in a rematch.
Well, Freddie has a job to do, and that's train his fighter, and he's trying to promote the fight, and he wants to give the impression that I think Cotto is rejuvenated right now, but I don't think that you've seen any evidence that Cotto would knock Floyd out in a rematch. I think that that's just something that Freddie is saying to ensure that he gets Trainer of the Year this year. That's all. Yeah,
more promotion gibberish to me. Just trying to promote a fight. That's what it sounds. I always said that Freddie was more of a promoter than a trainer sometimes, and a promoter and a manager, because he basically tells the media what Manny Pacquiao is going to do next, almost on a day-to-day basis. So now I also wanted to ask Jeff, I meant to ask you this first. Now, you working with a whole bunch of soldiers out here in Las Vegas. Matter of fact, you brought one of your undefeated or one of your amateur prospects right now who's about to turn pro. Go ahead and let everybody know who you're working with right now and what you got lined up for the boxing world.
Well, I'm very busy. I do kickboxing, I do boxing, I do MMA, so I'm all over the place. I had King Mo fight Rampage, in which we got robbed.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Everyone got a chance to see it. They it was easy to judge. And Rampage himself even knew he lost, because he started asking for a rematch even before the decision was announced. So, but and then after that, I had to leave to go to New York for a kickboxing match with Amir Adala, and now he'll be fighting for a world kickboxing title.
Okay.
And now I think the next fight that I have will be probably Zach Cooper, one of my fighters, and.
You talking about boxing now, or
no,
MMA?
I'm boxing now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and in the studio with me is Kevin Newman, which is, a kid that I started with from day one. So, and I think that one day he'll be world champion. I have great expectations of him, and so I think we're gonna have a nice long journey together.
I hear that. And Kevin Newman, he's fighting that middleweight, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Kevin, you can hear me, right? Yeah. Let me ask you a question, man. So how did you get into boxing, Kevin?
I always wanted to box ever since I was a lot younger. I used to watch, I watched a couple Tyson fights with my family, and watch Rocky all the time. And I just used to, go punch on walls and, punch on teddy bears. And my mom was like, let's buy him some gloves. I think she bought me my first pair of gloves when I was 4 years old. They said like pow and boom on each one, and then my dad, he bought me a heavy bag, and like a 75-pound one, and hung it up in the garage, and I just always wanted to do it, so it just kind of went from there. And I started working with Jeff when I was about 9.
Wow.
And
okay.
And it was funny because I didn't have the mental focus to do it. I just wanted to come in there, and I just, Jeff, he was running me through the motions. My arms would get heavy, and I'd get all tired and stuff. And
a new experience, huh?
Yeah, but then when I came back, when I was 16, I took time off just to go be a kid, I guess, and just to have a life as a child and get to do everything. And I came back at 16, and it was just a whole new mindset, man. And then from day one, we just been smoking ever since.
Yeah, I know. I done seen you fight, man. Seen you sparring, knocking out sparring partners. Making me feel sorry for your sparring partners. So yeah, man, I see big things for you, man. I see big things. What amateur type of did you do any national tournaments?
Yeah, actually, my first national tournament I fought in was it was an Olympic qualifier. It was one of the I think the 6 that they had, and it was out in Ohio, and it was the last chance qualifier, and it was coming in there with 14 amateur fights after just beating a kid from London who had way more experience than me. It was a good experience. I came out and won the first day. The second day I lost, but it was like a decision that I felt, and a lot of people felt that I won. So that was the first one, and I had fought again in the 2012 USA Nationals, and I made it to the quarters, and I lost by a point, and I felt that I had won, and I really wanted to fight the guy the next day because he was the top,
Okay.
So I really wanted to do that, and then I just went last year after being off for a year and a half with Tommy John surgery. I went and fought in the Ringside World Championships, and I blew through that.
Nice.
Easy, so.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so, and you ready to go ahead and turn pro already, huh?
Oh, man, it's funny. I've been ready. A lot of people have been saying I've been ready, but, I want to do it on my own terms and when I felt that I was,
of course.
Physically ready. And I think, everybody can tell, I'm ready, and I feel I'm ready. So it's time to go.
Okay. And you said Mayweather's already he's already trying to set something up for you in what, July?
We're trying to set something up, period. I mean, it's always, a lot of talk going on.
Yeah.
So, me and Jeff heard a few things, so, hopefully we'll get something on the next card, which is hopefully in July or early after that.
Okay. Okay, that's what it is. You guys look out for Kevin Newman. He coming. All right, we got a whole lot of talent out here in Las Vegas. But we're going to go ahead and move on. Okay, Jeff in 78. First, I want to ask you, Jeff, what do you think about the Golden Boy split up with Richard Schaefer and Oscar De La Hoya, and how does it affect the sport of boxing?
Well, I think that it's one of those situations now. Oscar without Richard Schaefer is now he has to basically mend fences with Bob Arum, that was once his boss, and of course, I mean they've been at odds for a long time.
Yeah.
But with losing Richard Schaefer, he has to go back. He has to go back and work with Bob again. So I think that, and for boxing, Richard Schaefer's an extremely intelligent guy, but I don't know. I mean, there's been talk about him and Al Heyman joining forces. And of course, if they join forces, they're going to take over boxing completely.
Yeah.
So I don't really know, but I don't know if that's true or not.
But how many fighters are actually with Oscar as opposed to with Al Heyman?
Right.
I mean, I'm trying to figure out how are they working that out? Because you got all these fighters. It seems like they're all signed with Al Heyman.
Yeah, pretty much. And the thing is this, especially any guy that's in, anywhere close to Floyd's weight class. Of course, they're gonna find a way to get signed with Al Heyman because everybody wants to be in the sweepstakes. Floyd only has 3 fights left, so everybody's bartering, trying to position himself to be, one of the 3.
Mm-hmm. What do you think about that situation, 78, with the split up, Golden Boy, Oscar, and Richard Schaefer?
Well, I think it's I understand it's business, but I think it's bad for boxing. Thought Golden Boy was on top. They were doing a lot of good things, but Oscar had a lot of trouble outside of the ring. He wasn't there. From what I'm told, he wasn't there. He was always absent, showing up once every 6 months to the office. Richard pretty much ran the company, and now you have all this stuff outside the ring that's a distraction, and people want to distance themselves from Oscar De La Hoya. Pictures leaking online, just disgusting stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard for people to go into a business environment and respect a person that you're talking to when you just seen a picture of him, doing ridiculous things he shouldn't be involved in. You know what I mean? So it's hard to respect somebody like that. So I wish him all the best. I hope I'm for whatever is good for boxing, but I think it's a sad thing that this happened. But I do want to ask Jeff a question real quick.
Go ahead. That's what I want you to do.
Okay. How you doing? First of all, Jeff, how you doing?
I'm good.
Okay, Jeff. What do you see now, as far as for your nephew, as far as if he's not going to work with Golden Boy and he's not going to work with Top Rank, who do you see him working with to co-promote his fights at this moment? Do you think is any possibility that he works with Don King to help promote his fights?
No, I don't think he's going to work with Don King. I think that There's a possibility, I mean, that's been tossed around that possibly, Richard Schaefer, he's already dealing with Al Heyman, so, and if they join forces, of course, I mean, that would be ideal for him to continue to work with them. I mean, because he's been working, to be honest, he's been working with Richard Schaefer more so than Golden Boy, because Richard Schaefer is the one that does all the business.
Mm-hmm. But what about Floyd has said that if Richard ever left Golden Boy, then he would have Richard help him run Mayweather Promotions. Now, I want to ask because, a lot of people don't know exactly how, a promotional company is ran. Some of these promoters, they don't even have like an actual license to run. So does Floyd Mayweather have a license to run like an official promotional company like Top Rank, or is his promotional company more like a managing company almost?
Well, I think at this point right now, it's more like a managing company, and I mean, of course, Floyd can go get his promoter's license anytime he wants to, but it makes no sense to do it while he's still an active fighter.
Yeah.
And so he's put, Leonard Ellerbe in that position of, being the guy that makes the matches, and and actually is more like the front man that's always there when the fights are being, when the fights are being made. So I mean, at this point in time right now, I mean, I guess that, Leonard's kind of like the guy that, that's representing Floyd's team.
I hear you. Now let me go back to what 78 just said. Now when it comes to Floyd Mayweather, like he just said, you have a lot of fighters that's going to be with Golden Boy. You have some that's going to be with Al Heyman. Do you think that Floyd Mayweather is still going to be fighting because a lot of those fighters, you got Shawn Porter, Keith Thurman, Amir Khan. I mean, a lot of them fighters are still working with Al Heyman. Do you think that's going to stop Floyd from working with the Al Heyman fighters that may still have a little bit of a relationship with Golden Boy?
Well, I mean, I think that as long as they're affiliated with Al Heyman, I think that he'll still fight him, as opposed to fighting guys that are still with Golden Boy.
Okay. What do you think about, what does Floyd Mayweather, I know you talked to him about it, I know you had to say something. What does Floyd think about Shawn Porter and Keith Thurman?
Well, I mean, I haven't talked to him about him, but I mean, I can tell you what I think about him.
What do you think about him?
Well, first of all, I think that neither one of them has a big enough name to draw anything to help pay-per-view sales, so chances are they're not going to be in the sweepstakes, other than Porter has a chance because he does have a title, but he brings nothing to the table either. So, I mean, there's two guys that, on their way up, and I mean, I don't really think, I'm going to be honest, I don't think much of Keith Thurman. I really don't.
So out of the two, you think Shawn Porter is better, though, or what? Jeff is blowing up by as many fans over here, y'all.
Sorry about that. I'm trying to,
it's all good.
Trying to silence it.
It's all good.
Turn it off.
78.
Yo.
So who's better out of Keith Thurman and Shawn Porter?
I plead the fifth. I'm not getting involved in that one.
Oh man.
I love both of them. Young, talented fighters. Yeah. I don't want nobody cussing me out.
Yeah. I guess I would plead the fifth a little on that one too. So we'll go back to Jeff's assessment on that. So who do you think is better between Keith Thurman and Shawn Porter?
I mean, to be honest, I think it's a pick'em fight. I really do. I think it's a pick'em fight.
No, I mean just skill-wise, like not just them fighting each other, both.
Well,
them fighting and skill-wise.
But they're two different fighters.
Yeah.
I mean, Shawn Porter is more like a Madonna type fighter, and Thurman is more. One thing I can say is he's improving. He's a guy that's learning to box a little bit, and he's not as big a puncher as he think he is. I mean, he's a decent puncher. And, I mean, he's trying to sell himself, but at this point, he still haven't really done anything. So, like I said, I mean, he doesn't bring anything, At the end of the day, I mean, Floyd, it's a business.
Yeah.
And that's why he's fighting. He's trying to fight guys that either have names or have titles. And if, I mean, so Porter is probably in the sweepstakes because he does have a title.
Yeah. And I totally agree with you. I think they would have to fight at least one or two more fighters, to be in the sweepstakes. But let me ask you this. Who do you think they could actually fight to make it to the sweepstakes?
Each other.
I mean,
because that would eliminate one, and actually one beating the other would actually, you know, solidify the fact that, you know, now they do have some value.
Uh-huh. And I kind of stopped you from saying it. I don't know if you actually got it out, but did you pick who will win between the two? Who you think will win between the two?
No, I think it's really a pick'em fight. I really do.
Yeah.
I couldn't pick a winner.
Okay. You got anything else on that, 78?
What do you think about? I heard Jeff say that you know, Shawn will have a chance because he's a title holder. All right, and we talk about this as a business and all of that. So why not go for right now? Floyd doesn't have an opponent set. Pacquiao doesn't have an opponent set. Why not go for it all right now? Get that money, get the legacy, get the payday all in one. Why not go for that right now?
Because it's easy and simple. He re-signed with Bob, so obviously he didn't want the fight because he knew what the circumstances was. He knew that if he would have signed back, if he was to re-sign with Bob, the fight can't happen. So obviously he didn't want the fight.
And I might as well add on to the Manny Pacquiao. He also did a recent interview where somebody has sent me a couple links of it, where he actually said that right now is not the time for a Mayweather fight. And I think he basically regurgitating that, hearing Bob Arum say that. And I truly believe that Bob Arum is saying that because he believes that Manny Pacquiao will probably lose to Floyd Mayweather, and he doesn't want to lose his cash cow right now. But that still doesn't make sense to me because even if Manny Pacquiao lost to Mayweather, he would still be a draw. A lot of people already expect him to lose to Mayweather. So, I mean, another thing is when it comes to the situation with him re-signing with Bob Arum, I tell people all the time, Manny Pacquiao, he could have actually just stepped aside, tried to negotiate with Floyd, right? And if things didn't work out, he could have went right back to Bob because it's not like Bob wouldn't have took him afterwards, right, Jeff?
No. Well, I mean, the thing is that, you know, I mean, I'm sure that he could have done the fight without Bob. I mean, because Floyd don't want to do business with Bob. I mean, for his own personal reasons. But, I mean, and he made that clear. He made it clear to the whole world. It wasn't like, it isn't like it's a secret. You know, he made it known to the whole world that, you know, but at the same time, everyone wants to point the finger at Floyd. When the first time when Floyd asked to fight him, he refused to take a blood test.
Yeah.
And I'm sure a lot of people know why, but because, I mean, you know, and then after that, Floyd offered him $40 million, and he turned it down. So, I mean, so who don't want the fight?
Yeah.
I mean, he never seen $40 million.
No.
And he turned it down.
Do you think the fight will ever happen, though, Jeff?
I mean, the only way I can see the fight happen is probably if Floyd decides that he want to fight Manny his last fight to go out. You know, I think that's the only way it would happen. Other than that, I can't see it happening.
Yeah. Now, even with Floyd Mayweather knowing that would be the biggest fight in the history of boxing, he would be willing to let that go without him adding that into his resume?
Well, I mean, I think so. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, like I said, I mean, you can't force somebody to fight you. And like I said, if he really wanted to fight,
that's true.
He knew what he would have done. He knew what to do. So,
yeah.
But he didn't want the fight, obviously.
Yeah, the many times, you know, Floyd offered him to fight, he never even tried to even call Floyd's bluff. You know, I mean, when Floyd called him up on the phone, Manny Pacquiao, he hung up on Floyd. When it was a 50-50 split with the pay-per-view and everything, Manny Pacquiao turned down that fight. Right before Floyd Mayweather had to, you know, go to jail, they turned down that fight, said they had an arena that they were going to build out here that never ended up getting built. So, you know, it's unfortunate, but I, as a boxing fan, I really want to see that fight. You know, I just hope that that it happens before it's too late because I have a feeling that Manny Pacquiao's on the verge of losing again very soon. I think everyone that Manny Pacquiao fights from this point on is a 50-50 fight. So, I you know, a lot of people are thinking if anyone else beats Manny Pacquiao, maybe it should be Floyd Mayweather, you know. So, but and Manny will get paid good for it. He'll be able to pay off them tax problems and everything else, you know. So, speaking of Manny, let me ask you this, Jeff. If you were Manny Pacquiao's promoter right now, we're not getting a Mayweather fight. Who do you put Manny Pacquiao in the ring with next?
I would probably put him in with the kid. What's it, Algieri?
Algieri,
Yeah.
yeah.
I would put him in with I mean, the guy's not a big puncher, and you know, and the fight with him and what's his name, Provodnikov.
Provodnikov. Yeah,
I don't know how to say it, but but you know, I mean, that fight was very, very close. I mean, it could have really went either way. I mean, the kid's a good boxer, but at the same time, he got caught with a bunch of shots. You know, so I mean, it was a fight that actually, if they would have gave it to the other guy, it wouldn't have been no qualms about it. I don't think.
Yeah. You got anything else on that 78?
No, I'm just sitting back checking it out.
It's all good. It's all good. I'm going to move on to the next then. Okay. Jeff, if there were a tournament that all the promoters were willing to put together, and they said that we're going to put a tournament together with all the welterweights, and the winner of that tournament gets Floyd Mayweather, do you think Floyd Mayweather would like that idea?
I don't see why not.
Yeah.
I mean, at 47, ain't nobody going to beat Floyd at no 47.
And now that 147, huh?
No, forget about it. I mean, 54 either.
Yeah, okay, since you brought up 154, everybody keeps sending me messages saying that Floyd is ducking Ruslan Lara. Doesn't make sense at all, but they saying that. What do you think about that fight?
Well, I think he has to get past Canelo first
to
prove anything. Because, and I mean, me personally, I don't think he's going to beat Canelo.
You don't think so? That was going to be my next question. So you don't, man, that's crazy, 78. To this point, nobody has picked Lara to beat Canelo yet. I asked about 30 professional trainers and boxers, and not one single person has picked Lara to beat Canelo. What's your pick on that fight, 78?
Well, I got Lara beating Canelo. I think that it's going to be a tough fight, but I think Lara is he is the slicker fighter. I think he knows he's the better outboxer. I think Canelo's too inconsistent, and Canelo makes the mistake of when he's in there with a superior boxer, he tries to outthink them, outslick them, and I think he needs to adopt some Freddie Roach in his blood. He needs to have a more aggressive approach sometimes. There's nothing wrong with being an outboxer, but you have to, with his style, his body frame, I think he should take it to him. If Canelo would go in there and take it to Lara, I would have no problem picking Canelo very easily. But I don't trust him. I think he's going to go in there and try to outbox Lara, and I think he's going to get peppered up. And I think the only problem Lara faces right now is the politics of boxing. Golden Boy needs Canelo to be successful. Canelo was waiting for him as a Mayweather rematch, a Cotto fight. The sky's the limit. Pacquiao for Canelo. So the politics is what's going to be in the way for Ruslan Lara. But I hope Lara comes in there prepared and does what he has to do.
78, let me ask you, what do you think about all the people who picking Canelo to win? They all saying, or at least the majority of them saying the same thing. They saying, well, look at what happened with the Lara Angulo fight. They're all basing it on that. What do you think about them basing it on that fight?
I don't think that's fair, because I can say, look at the Trout fight.
Yeah.
They both fought Trout, and Lara destroyed Trout. And Canelo, I thought Canelo lost to Trout on points.
Yeah.
But, you know, it was a close fight. He got the decision, you know. But Angulo is a different style fighter than you know, he's a different style fighter. So when Canelo comes in and fights a guy, a come-forward guy, and pounds him, a punching bag, he pounds the shit out of him, then, I mean, fine, that's a great look. But I have to see you do that against a guy who has a little bit of defense.
Yeah, I hear you. Now, Jeff, I want to talk a little bit about the double standards in the sport of boxing. Now, when Floyd Mayweather fought against Canelo, as soon as he signed the contract, everybody started saying he cherry-picking. He knows that Canelo don't have the experience. Floyd Mayweather always picking easy opponents. Now, despite the fact that Floyd Mayweather was 15 pounds smaller than Canelo, 14 years older than Canelo, and Canelo was way stronger than him, now all of a sudden when Canelo fights against Ruslan Lara, now everybody's saying, oh, this is a good fight. This is a competitive matchup, and whoever wins this fight gets all the credit. What do you think about the double standards, and why do they exist when it comes to fighters like Floyd, even Guillermo Rigo, but we'll talk about him later, but why do you think the double standards exist in the sport?
Well, I mean, I guess because it's one of those situations. No one, I mean, unfortunately, don't like to see a guy dominate the sport, stay on top as long as Floyd has, you know, and so, I mean, they make up excuses. I mean, first, Canelo was a beast. Then all of a sudden, Floyd played with him. Mm-hmm. And once Floyd played with him, just like him, now think that Canelo can't fight. a lot of people that thought that, and then turned around and then they got a chance to see that Canelo could fight.
Yeah.
You know, and it's a situation in which, you know, me personally, I think Canelo, you know, is a very good young fighter. And
Oh yeah, no doubt about it.
I think he's gonna get better, and I just think that, you know, you can't judge him against what he did with Floyd, because that's, you know,
That's Floyd.
A totally different level.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean,
You got to give him a pass for that loss. That's
right.
what people saying.
Yeah, and I mean, when it comes to Floyd, I mean, it's always a double standard because, you know, I mean, it seems like, you know, he's unbeatable. So anybody you put in there with him, you know, they're gonna be the underdog. And the thing is that, so they say he's cherry picking. Whoever he fights, he's cherry picking.
Yeah.
If he's supposed to be better than everyone.
Even if he picked Lara, they would say he cherry picking.
No matter who he picks.
You know. Yeah, I hear you.
But I mean, Lara brings nothing to the table.
Yeah, not at least not yet, but he will if he beats Canelo.
If he beats Canelo, and I mean, you know, in a convincing fashion, of course. But I just don't see it. I mean, you know, I don't see Lara winning.
Yeah. What about you, Kevin? Who wins that fight, Lara or Canelo?
I've pick Canelo.
You picking Canelo?
Yeah, I'm rolling with Canelo.
The streak continues.
I mean, it's just he's like Jeff said, you know, he just because the Floyd loss, people think, you know, a certain thing about him, but you know, the kid can really box. You know, he has good speed, good power. He has good defense that he showed in the Angulo fight. You know, I mean, he's a slick Hispanic fighter. You know, he doesn't fight like the average Hispanic fighter. You know, so I think he could cause a lot of problems for Lara with his hand speed alone. You know, I mean, and his ability to box, because he can box. Lara has good footwork, you know, as most Cuban fighters do. But I think Canelo is better with his ability to use his hands.
So, Kevin, you think that Canelo can not only knock out Lara, but you think he can outbox Lara too? I'm not gonna
say he can. I mean, anybody can be knocked out.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not picking him to knock him out. What I'm saying is, I think his hand and hand speed, and his boxing ability. I think he can outbox him. I mean, he was in there. He tried to box with Floyd and he failed. But Floyd, like Jeff says, is on a whole different level.
Yeah.
You know. So I mean, I think he's an excellent boxer, and I think people are gonna be shocked at what they see from Canelo in this next fight.
Wow, this is just really making me interested. I'm eager to watch the fight, I should say. I can't wait to watch the fight, man. So you heard it, 78. So let me ask you this, Jeff. Now, Marcos Maidana, a lot of people are saying that he gave Mayweather probably his toughest fight. What do you think about that first fight? Why was the fight even competitive? And do you think that there will ever be a rematch?
No, I think that Floyd chose to make the fight that way. I mean, he said it before the fight. He said that he wanted to show
please the fans, or
yeah, he wanted to please the fans with a give and take fight, and he also wanted to prove that Maidana wasn't the beast that everybody thought he was. So he didn't use his legs, and of course everybody jumped right on the Freddie Roach bandwagon. Oh, his legs are gone. Yeah, okay. And just like once again talking about Cotto, he already fought Cotto at middleweight. Cotto was 165 when they fought.
Yeah.
And Floyd was 149. So what's the difference?
You
know, and so I mean, it's one of those situations. You know, so.
You think it'll ever be a rematch, or
with Cotto?
I'm sorry, with Maidana.
I don't know. I mean, the guy's too dirty. You know, I mean, he did everything illegal. He did. I mean, he almost broke for his arm. He did a takedown. He kneed him.
A knee.
He head-butted him. So I mean, me personally, I mean, if I was advising Floyd, of course, I would say it's a fight that you don't need because, you know, I mean, this guy, he'll do anything to win. There's nothing wrong with doing anything to win, but you still have rules.
And then Marcos Maidana, you forgot to mention that he tried to come in there with some funny-ass gloves.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? So tell me about some gloves, because while Floyd Mayweather at the post-fight conference, Floyd is, respecting, giving him props, Marcos Maidana, as he has a beautiful family, whatever, so on and so forth. And then Maidana comes back by saying, well, I tell you this, if I would have been able to wear my gloves, I would have knocked you out. I mean, isn't that like an admission within itself?
Right.
Basically saying it was something special about them gloves.
Well, I mean, anyone that's got a chance to see the gloves know that the gloves were worn.
Yeah.
Or it was already worn, or the padding was taken out of them.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it was easy for anyone to see that. So, I mean, of course, I mean, boxing is, is a sport in which, the playing field should be even.
Of course.
And and it's Floyd giving you an opportunity. You're not giving him an opportunity.
Yeah.
So I mean, not to say that Floyd dictate anything, but fair is fair.
I hear you. You got anything on that, 78?
No, I want to ask Jeff also though. Based off what we've been talking about, and if Thurman and Porter are not proven yet, and Pacquiao signed with Bob Arum again, and Maidana being a dirty, because I heard that before also from Nate Jones was also telling me that he didn't think Maidana deserved a rematch. So with all those guys pretty much out of the picture, who else left is there for Floyd to fight? Should he retire now while he's undefeated, or should he continue on fighting? I think he should retire. I don't see what's the point of continuing on and waiting for one of these young guns to to load up on him. What do you think, Jeff?
Well, I think that I think Floyd's going to fulfill his contract, and even at the age now, Floyd works harder than any guy out there that's in boxing.
Yes, he does.
I don't know if you ever got a chance to come see him for yourself, but believe me, he's still got something left in the tank, and it's not going to be no time soon. He's not the Bernard Hopkins. Floyd doesn't get hit. Floyd doesn't have, he don't really have, that type of wear and tear on him that even Bernard Hopkins has. And Bernard Hopkins is 50 years old. So Floyd can stay around if he wants to for at least another 2 years, I think.
Hey, I made a video the other day where I was talking about, me and 78, we both did a video talking about what would help the sport, what would enhance the sport. And we were saying basically if there were like a playoffs, if there were like a Super Bowl every year or every couple of years, that would enhance the sport. What do you think about that? Do you think that's possible, and do you think that would enhance the sport of boxing? If we could just have a tournament in every single division to clean it up and really find out, who's the best in that division or whatever.
Well, I think that would be nice, but it won't happen.
It'll never happen.
You got too many promoters. They don't get along.
Too many cooks in the kitchen. That's
and so it's one of those things. And then you have where this promoter wants to control it, this promoter wants to control it, and it never wants to be equal, because you're talking about some fighters have more value than other fighters. So we're not gonna do nothing even if I have a fighter that's worth this much and you have a fighter that's worth half that. Mm-hmm. There's no way we're going to sit down and do an even deal. So it's one of those situations where I don't think it can happen because of the politics.
Yeah, I hear you. Now, and I also want to talk about the great debates. I had Rudy Hernandez on the show the other week. You remember, Rudy Hernandez?
Yeah, I know Rudy.
And Rudy, talking about his first fight that his brother had with Floyd Mayweather. The conversation went into Floyd Mayweather fighting against Tommy Hearns. He was basically saying today's era of boxing is not as competitive as, yesterday. And he said that Tommy Hearns would beat him easy. It wouldn't even be competitive. What do you think about that?
I think that's a joke also. Because, first of all, me personally, there's no way you can even compare, a guy that can't fight in the same era, because they can't fight. Because the equivalent is Diego Corrales. Diego Corrales was, he had more knockouts than Tommy Hearns, and he was just as tall as Tommy Hearns. Mm-hmm. So he was the equivalent of Tommy Hearns. Mm-hmm. But just because Tommy Hearns came in a different era, that's why people say that. But the reality is this, Floyd can't fight Tommy Hearns. Tommy Hearns can't fight Floyd. Floyd can't fight Ray Leonard. He can't fight no guy that is not in his era. So, and it's one of those situations. It's a no-win situation. It's a conversation that don't even make sense, because whoever you believe is going to win, I can't change your mind. How can I?
Yeah, it'll never happen.
It's never going to happen. So, it's a waste of time to even talk about it.
Yeah. But do you think that's almost praising Floyd Mayweather in a certain sense, because Floyd is the only fighter that they're actually comparing to Ali, to Hearns, to Hagler, so on and so forth? Is that somewhat of a praise or a compliment to him?
It's a praise and a compliment, but the reality is this. At 36, Floyd is still the best fighter in the world. Not Ray Leonard, not Muhammad Ali, not any other fighter that you name has been on top of the world at 36 years old. All those guys been beat. Some of them been stopped. So, I mean, it's praise, but to be honest, Floyd's on a level all by himself.
Yeah.
When you look at the reality of where he's at 36 years old.
Yeah,
37, ain't it?
37. I thought about that. When
Okay,
you said
37.
That. Yeah, even.
I didn't know that. He must have snuck that
boy
past
getting
me.
old. The boy getting old.
He's ancient.
Now, I know we can't compare. Like you said, there's no need to really compare these fighters fighting against each other. But let's talk about this, because I get, irritated. Everyone always talking about Ali's resume versus Floyd Mayweather's resume. Me personally, I'm going to go ahead and give you my opinion before you even say something. I think that if you look at Muhammad Ali's opponents, the majority of them were flat-footed, number one. Very easy to hit. None of them really had a jab, head movement, so on and so forth. So it surprises me that people try to say that Muhammad Ali, he fought better competition. Like, oh, man, look at George Foreman. Look at Sonny Liston. But these were all flat-footed guys.
Well,
what do you think about that?
Well, I think that, I mean, you're only as good as your opponents that are in front of you, first of all. And then secondly, I think that it makes no sense at all to compare, because the reality is this, is that, Muhammad Ali, like I said, compare where they're at their ages. I mean, because the reality is this.
That's the best way to look at it.
I mean, that's what you can compare, because, I mean, sorry.
No, just we got 3 minutes left.
Like I said, I mean, that's what you can compare, because that's the only thing that you really can compare, because in most fighters' career, I mean, they have probably maybe 10, 15 at the most, if they have a long career, good fighters in front of them.
Yeah.
And then you have the process of building the fighter that bits up to that, and at the end of the day, I mean, almost every record there is in boxing, Floyd has surpassed.
Yeah, and it's funny that you bring up, like I said, compare them being at the same age. Don't just compare, just opposition. When it comes to the Gamboa and Mikey Garcia situation, Mikey Garcia, he clearly avoided the Gamboa fight, right? And I make videos talking about it. And, of course, the Floyd Mayweather detractors, they always find a reason to bring up Mayweather in the conversation and try to compare Mikey to Floyd Mayweather. Say, oh, well, Floyd ducked everybody. But my whole thing is, I say the same thing. What you have to do is you have to compare Floyd at that age of Mikey Garcia to what Mikey Garcia is doing right now. And we know who Floyd was fighting when he was 23.
Right.
And, 24, right?
Yeah, I mean, he fought the best champion out there.
Yeah.
And stopped him.
Mm-hmm.
And 15 fights.
21 years old.
Yeah, at 21, absolutely. I mean, all the way up to age 23, he had already fought Diego Corrales, Gennaro Hernandez, #1 contender Angel Manfredi, and I think 24 or 23 he fought Castillo. And like I said, it was the lineal champion, right? Not just some IBO international champion or something like that, So yeah, what do you think about the contrast in the Mayweather Ali contrast that's always going on in the YouTube world, 78?
Well, I'm gonna say this. I think that Muhammad Ali, Sugar Ray Robinson, and all those guys are legends, and they put the work in to warrant our respect right now. Okay, and I would not disrespect those guys, and I would not suggest that Floyd is in a league of his own above those guys, because by the time those guys were in their mid-30s, they had already all fought their rival several times. In some cases, the boxing guys have given Floyd Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao, and for whatever the reason is, those two guys haven't gotten the ring yet. So I respect for the legends of the boxing. Until those guys fight, I will reserve my opinion on who's the best or who's in the league of his own.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good way to put it. But the only thing I will disagree with is I think Floyd Mayweather, he didn't have his rivals. I just think Manny Pacquiao is one of them. But, Floyd Mayweather, Diego Corrales was a favorite to beat Floyd Mayweather. I think that Shane Mosley was one of his rivals, because Shane Mosley had just knocked out Antonio Margarito, so I think, if we look at it as who didn't do something versus who did do something, I personally believe that Floyd Mayweather, he may have fought more diverse opponents, fighters that could adjust and do more in the ring. And like I said, it's impressive what he's doing at age 36.
37.
Now you got me saying 36. You got me saying 36. Real quick, guys, we got 1 minute. Let's go ahead and get some quick predictions on Crawford versus Gamboa and Russell versus your boy Lomachenko. Who you got, Jeff? Lomachenko versus Russell.
That's a tough one, but I think I'll lean toward Russell.
Russell?
Yeah.
Okay. Kevin, who you got, Russell or?
I got Russell.
Yeah, and I probably should have just asked both of you. Got okay, Crawford, Gamboa.
I lean toward Crawford, but Gamboa is I held a miss for that guy, so I know how hard he can punch. So I think that he's just one punch away from separating Crawford from the belt also. But I lean toward Crawford.
Okay. And Kevin?
I got Crawford. I think he's too much of a. I think he's a very good boxer. I think he'll outbox him.
Okay.
So I feel like that he'll beat Gamboa. But Gamboa always goes down in every fight.
Yeah.
So.
To me, he like the modern day Trinidad.
He comes back hard though.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like Trinidad, he got knocked down a lot, but he came back. 78. Russell Lomachenko and Crawford Gamboa.
I'm rooting for Russell. I think Russell will win, but I don't think Lomachenko even deserves a title shot, especially not back to back. It's just ridiculous, disgrace to boxing. So I hope Gary Russell Jr. destroys him. And as far as Crawford and Gamboa, it's a tough fight. So pick him to me because Crawford is a very skilled, technical fighter, but Gamboa has such a great amateur background. So I don't know. I'll probably wait till the day of the fight to give my prediction. I don't know.
Okay, that'll work. Well, you guys heard it here. Dante's Boxing Nation Radio. I want to say thank you to all my guests, Jeff Mayweather, Kevin Newman, Chris Algieri, and 78 Sports TV. We will see you guys next week, Tuesday, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, live on alltalkradio.net. On to the next one, guys.